The story begins with Poseidon slowly rising out of the ocean, with water spinning and swirling around his massive frame as he has been shifting into human form and making his way into the city. He has been ascending to the very top of the Empire State Building, where Zeus has already been waiting, and the sky above them has been darkening almost immediately as a heavy storm has been rolling in from every direction. But something feels deeply wrong, because there is no lightning anywhere. Zeus has been breaking the silence by revealing that his legendary lightning bolt has gone missing, and he has been pointing fingers without hesitation. Poseidon fires back hard, reminding Zeus that gods simply do not steal power from one another, and that this accusation should never have been made. But the moment Zeus hints that Poseidon's own son could have been behind it, the entire conversation turns into something far more dangerous than either of them had intended. Zeus shuts down every response and delivers a firm ultimatum. The bolt must be returned to Mount Olympus before midnight on the summer solstice, and Poseidon has been given exactly 14 days to make that happen. If the bolt is not returned in time, an all-out war between the gods will be unleashed upon the entire world. The story then shifts to a teenage boy named Percy Jackson, who has been sitting completely relaxed at the bottom of a swimming pool and holding his breath for a full 7 minutes. When he finally gets home, he opens up to his mother about how his dyslexia and ADHD have been hitting harder than usual lately, and she's been listening with quiet concern. Their conversation gets cut short when her husband walks through the door and immediately starts behaving disrespectfully toward her. Percy has been watching the whole thing with barely contained anger, unable to wrap his head around why his mother would choose to stay with a man who treats her that way. The very next day, Percy's class has been heading out on a trip to the Museum of Modern Art, and the second he walks through the entrance, a strange voice fills his head and warns him that his entire life is about to shift in ways he cannot yet understand. Inside the museum, their professor, Mr. Brunner, has been walking the students through the world of Greek mythology, and when he asks the group what children born between a god and a human are called, Percy is the one who answers correctly. Shortly after that moment, his English teacher pulls him aside, and once they are completely alone, everything changes in an instant. She has been transforming into a terrifying winged creature named Electro and launches a full attack on Percy, demanding to know where the lightning bolt has been hidden. Percy is completely blindsided and insists he has taken nothing, but she is not willing to listen. Before things can turn fatal, Mr. Brunner and Percy's best friend Grover Underwood have been arriving just in time to intervene. Mr. Brunner hands Percy what appears to be an ordinary pen, instructs him to use it only when things have become truly life-threatening, and orders Grover to get Percy away from there immediately. They rush back to Percy's home, where Grover wastes no time explaining the full situation to Percy's mother. The three of them hit the road together, and Percy has been spending the entire drive throwing questions at everyone around him. His mother finally tells him the truth. His father is no ordinary man, and they have been heading to a place called Camp Half-Blood, a hidden safe haven that has been built specifically for children like Percy. But before that reality even has time to settle in properly, a massive creature slams directly into their car. It is the Minotaur. In the chaos that follows, Grover tears off his pants, and Percy gets the shock of his life. Grover has been hiding the fact that he is a satyr with actual goat legs. They scramble out of the wreckage and sprint toward a dark forest where a gate has been marking the entrance to the camp. Since ordinary humans cannot cross through it, Percy's mother has been forced to stay behind. That is precisely when the Minotaur catches up, grabs her, and turns her to ash right in front of Percy's eyes. Grief and rage push Percy into action without a second thought. He charges the Minotaur completely barehanded, manages to snap off its horn during the struggle, and drives it straight into the beast, destroying it entirely. Percy collapses from complete exhaustion and does not wake up for 3 full days. When he finally comes around in the camp infirmary, Grover has been standing there waiting patiently. Seeing Grover's goat legs confirms to Percy that absolutely everything he experienced has been real. As Grover walks him around the camp, Percy learns that every single person living there has been carrying the same blood, half god and half human. Percy is then reunited with Mr. Brunner, who has actually been Chiron all along, and is shown a cabin that has been built by his father, Poseidon, god of the sea. The weight of that truth hits him completely at once. Chiron also explains that Percy's mother had been staying with her unpleasant husband, because the man's very human scent had been helping to mask Percy's demigod nature from those who would have wanted to hunt him down. Percy feels the guilt of that revelation deeply. With only 10 days remaining before Zeus declares war and the human world faces total destruction, Chiron makes it absolutely clear that Percy must be training before he can face anything out there, and right now he is nowhere near ready. Chiron wastes no time introducing Percy to the rest of the young demigods who have been living at camp. A confident and easygoing guy named Luke Castellan steps up first, welcoming Percy into his group known as the Blue Warriors. Chiron then breaks down the rules of a battle game where 2 teams have been fighting through the forest. each one trying to capture the other's flag while defending their own. The moment both groups disappear into the trees, Percy realizes fairly quickly that his combat skills are nowhere near where they need to be. Luke notices and steps in during the heat of the fight, pushing Percy to move forward and track down the enemy flag. Percy pushes deeper into the woods until he reaches a lake where the flag has been sitting just within reach. The second he moves toward it, Annabeth Chase drops in from the opposing team, sharp, composed, and completely sure of herself. She announces that she has been the daughter of Athena and makes it clear she has already been considering victory settled. Percy refuses to back down, but she handles him without much effort and knocks him flat to the ground with a single clean strike of her sword. Lying near the water's edge and barely able to move, Percy has been hearing a low voice guiding him toward the lake. He drags himself in with whatever strength he has left, and the moment the water touches his body, something remarkable takes over completely. His wounds have been sealing up, the pain has been fading away, and a surge of fresh energy has been moving through him entirely. Percy walks back out of that lake as a completely different fighter than the one who fell in. He re-enters the battle with full control and speed, faces Annabeth again, and this time turns the tables on her completely. The Blue Warriors capture the flag and the whole forest fills with cheering that echoes through the trees. That evening, the camp has been throwing a celebration in honor of the victory. Annabeth finds Percy, and while he has been expecting hostility from her, what she actually says turns out to be far more layered than that. She explains that their parents, Poseidon and Athena, have always been on opposing sides, which has naturally been putting tension between the two of them as well. But her tone makes it clear that she has not quite figured out how she feels about Percy himself. Before that conversation can go any further, the temperature drops sharply and a dark, unsettling figure has been stepping out of the fire. Hades has arrived, and his presence alone has been enough to silence the entire camp in an instant. He calls Percy forward and delivers news that completely shifts everything. Percy's mother is not dead. She has been held in the Underworld this entire time, but getting her back has been coming with one condition. Percy must bring Zeus's lightning bolt directly to Hades. With that chilling message delivered, he disappears back into the flames and leaves the entire camp shaken and completely silent. The idea that his mother has still been alive lights a fire in Percy that he cannot contain. He wants to move immediately without waiting another moment. Chiron urges him to speak with Zeus first, arguing that clearing his name could stop the war before it even starts. Percy hears the logic clearly but simply cannot bring himself to wait. That night, he quietly packs his things and slips out of camp, only for Grover and Annabeth to catch up with him before he gets very far. Grover reminds Percy that protecting him has literally been his responsibility all along, and Annabeth makes the case that her combat experience would be a serious asset on a mission like this one. Percy accepts the reality that going alone would be a mistake he cannot afford to make, and the three of them lock in on their plan together. Get to the Underworld and confront Hades directly. Annabeth points them toward Luke, who, as the son of Hermes, has been understanding pathways between realms better than anyone else at camp. Luke agrees to help and equips Percy with flying shoes that had once belonged to his father, a magical map, and a shield. He also delivers a critical warning, and escaping the Underworld has been requiring 3 magical pearls, one for each of them, and he points them toward the location of the first one. The trio heads out and eventually arrives at a strange house in New Jersey that has been filled with stone statues and an eerie, suffocating stillness. Annabeth spots golden coins resting in a pool nearby, and they split up to search for the pearl. Grover has been studying the statues more closely, and the unease spreading across his face has been saying everything. These are not sculptures at all. They are people. They have been walking straight into Medusa's lair without realizing it. Medusa reveals herself, acknowledges Annabeth directly, and explains that a curse from Athena has been responsible for transforming her into the creature she has become. She removes her glasses, and an unfortunate woman nearby makes the fatal mistake of looking directly at her, turning to stone within seconds. As Medusa closes in on Annabeth, Percy and Grover charge in from the side. Medusa shifts her focus toward Percy and has been taunting him about her past connection with Poseidon as she chases him through the hall of frozen statues. Grover breaks Annabeth free and joins Percy just as Medusa corners him and tries to force eye contact. In that exact moment, Annabeth and Grover slam a car straight into Medusa and throw her completely off balance. Percy draws his sword and takes her head in one clean, decisive move. Her body drops to the ground. Recognizing that her gaze has still been holding deadly power even in death, they decide to keep the head as a potential weapon for whatever lies ahead. Percy also walks away with the first magical pearl now secured. The three of them climb back into the car and pull up the map to track down the location of the second pearl. Annabeth mutters that Luke should have given them a proper heads up about Medusa, though Percy pushes back and suggests that Luke had probably been having no idea she was there at all. By the time night has been settling in, Grover has been fighting to keep his eyes open at the wheel, and nearly swerves them off the road, so they agree to pull into a hotel and get some rest. Percy drifts into the pool and immediately feels that familiar sense of calm wash over him completely. When he gets out, he notices Annabeth has been nursing an injured hand and gently guides her into the water, where the wound has been slowly closing on its own through his connection to it. They end up talking quietly by the pool, and Annabeth opens up about something deeply personal. She has never actually met her mother. Zeus had set a rule long ago stating that gods would not be permitted to have direct contact with their mortal children, which is precisely why most demigods have been growing up without ever knowing that parent. Both Percy and Annabeth admit that they have been hearing their parents' voices in difficult moments, offering quiet guidance from a distance. The conversation gets cut short when Grover calls them inside, complaining loudly that carrying Medusa's severed head around has been making his entire existence deeply uncomfortable. His complaints turn out to be well-timed, because a hotel waitress spots the head in his hand, and the trio has to clear out fast before things escalate any further. The map leads them next to a Parthenon replica in Nashville, where the second pearl has been sitting inside the crown of a towering Athena statue. Since the place has been packed with visitors during the day, they wait for it to close entirely. About an hour after closing time, Annabeth quietly takes out the remaining staff members with tranquilizer darts, and Percy straps on the winged shoes that Luke had given him. He wobbles and struggles to find his balance in the air before slowly finding his rhythm, eventually reaching the crown and retrieving the pearl successfully. The moment he touches down, a group of workers surrounds him and has been demanding the lightning bolt, before transforming entirely into a 5-headed dragon called the Hydra. One head has been spewing fire while the others snap and lunge without stopping. Percy swings his sword and cuts one head clean off, but Annabeth immediately shouts at him to stop. Cutting a head off the Hydra has been causing 2 new heads to grow back in its place. They run for their lives through the museum as the creature keeps multiplying and destruction spreads rapidly behind them. Percy has been throwing up a powerful water barrier to hold back the flames as they race desperately for the exit. Just when the Hydra has been preparing to unleash another burst of fire, Grover pulls Medusa's head out of his bag and holds it up toward the creature. The Hydra locks up completely and turns to stone within seconds. Later, over a meal at a small roadside restaurant, they have been watching news reports covering increasingly violent weather patterns spreading across the entire country, and they understand immediately that the gods have been losing patience at a dangerous rate. The map points them further west toward Las Vegas for the third and final pearl. They walk into a massive casino that has been dripping with flashing lights and wall-to-wall entertainment, and when staff members offer them lotus flowers, all 3 accept without thinking twice about it. Almost immediately, their minds have been going foggy and heavy. Time dissolves completely, and the mission has been slipping out of their heads as though it never existed. Percy has been reaching for yet another flower when his father's voice cuts sharply through the haze, telling him to stop and warning him that the flowers have been numbing his mind and draining his focus entirely. Percy snaps out of it, rushes to Annabeth and Grover, and forces them both back to reality. They quickly realize that the entire casino has been designed as a trap to keep people sedated and distracted, while time bleeds away completely unnoticed. Percy manages to locate the third pearl tucked somewhere within the chaos, but the staff has already clocked that the spell has worn off. With no visible exits anywhere in the building, Percy floors a nearby car and drives it straight through a massive glass wall, and they burst out onto the open street, finally free from the trap. Outside, they check the date, and the number stops them cold with shock. 15 full days have been vanishing inside that casino, without them realizing it at all. They now have only 12 hours remaining before the deadline expires, and war officially begins. The map reveals their final destination, Hollywood, where the entrance to the Underworld has been hidden from sight. They find ancient words carved near a concealed opening, and Percy reads them aloud with complete clarity, his demigod ability cutting through what would have been entirely unreadable to anyone else. A cave entrance slowly reveals itself before them. Inside stands a silent ferryman who has been refusing them entry, stating firmly that only the souls of the dead may cross. Percy catches on quickly and hands over the golden coins they had been collecting earlier. Payment accepted, the ferryman transports them across a dark and silent river and deposits them near the Palace of Hades, leaving them to continue the rest of the journey completely alone. 2 monstrous creatures have been lunging at them near the palace gates, before Persephone steps in and calls them off with quiet authority. She leads the trio into the throne room, where Hades has been waiting. He demands the lightning bolt immediately and expects Percy to hand it over without argument. Percy looks him straight in the eye and tells him plainly he does not have it, and he has never had it at any point. Percy makes it clear he has been coming for one reason only: to bring his mother home. Hades gestures toward Sally, who has been alive but trapped, and the sight of her fills Percy with both deep relief and renewed urgency. In the tension that follows, Percy accidentally drops the shield that Luke had given him, and something metallic catches the light as it hits the floor. Hades moves in and pulls Zeus's lightning bolt straight out of a hidden compartment that has been built right into the shield all along. It genuinely appears as though Percy has been carrying it the entire time without ever knowing it was there. Percy explains immediately that the shield had been a gift from Luke and that he had absolutely no idea what had been hidden inside it. Hades throws open the underworld gates and unleashes a wave of attacking spirits into the chaos that follows. What he has not been accounting for is Persephone. She has been moving quietly through the confusion, slips the bolt away from him smoothly, and drives it straight into Hades, knocking him unconscious where he stands. She calmly explains that Hades has been meant to remain in the underworld as punishment, and that without the bolt, he has no means of leaving. She hands the bolt to Percy and clears the path for him to take his mother and leave. The only obstacle remaining is a deeply painful one. 3 pearls, 4 people. Grover steps forward without any hesitation and tells them to go, choosing to stay behind so that the others can make it out safely. Percy and Annabeth promise that they will come back for him, and with heavy hearts, the 3 of them use the pearls and disappear in a flash of light. They surface near the Empire State Building with the deadline closing in dangerously fast. Luke has been waiting there and looks genuinely surprised that Percy has managed to make it out of the underworld alive. Percy confronts him directly without wasting a single second, and Luke drops the act entirely. He explains that he has been feeling deeply betrayed by the gods for a long time, believing that their control over demigods has been forcing countless kids to grow up completely alone and suffering without any support. Stealing the bolt had been his way of igniting a war among the Olympians, so that demigods could finally be free from that control. Percy refuses every part of that reasoning without hesitation, arguing firmly that building something on chaos and betrayal is not freedom. It is simply destruction wearing a different face. Luke attacks with real skill and real anger, but Percy has been focusing his attention on the water nearby, bursts open the surrounding tanks and sends massive waves crashing down onto Luke, until he goes completely still. Percy grabs the bolt and moves toward the entrance to Olympus with his mother and Annabeth right behind him. They step into the elevator with only 1 minute remaining on the clock. When the doors open, all 12 gods have been locked in a furious and devastating battle that has been threatening to consume everything around them. Percy walks straight into the middle of it, holds up the bolt, and lays out exactly what has been happening, naming Luke as the one who has truly been responsible for all of it. The fighting gradually dies down as the gods have been absorbing just how close they came to destroying everything over a lie that should never have been believed. The other gods step back one by one until Percy has been standing alone with Poseidon, who finally speaks honestly for the first time. He explains that Zeus had been enforcing a strict rule that has been cutting gods off from their mortal children, and that rule has been creating the distance that Percy has always felt between them. Poseidon makes it absolutely clear that distance has never meant absence, and that he has always been watching over Percy, especially during the moments that were hardest to survive. Before walking out of Olympus, Percy makes one final request. He asks that Zeus use the returned bolt to bring Grover back safely from the underworld, and Zeus agrees without argument. The next morning, Percy says goodbye to his mother at camp, and she tells him quietly that this is where he truly belongs now, adding that she has finally left her husband behind for good. Grover returns to camp not long after, walking in proud and completely in one piece. Chiron gives Percy a hard time about every reckless choice he has been making along the way, before reluctantly admitting that he has been respecting the nerve it took to see it all through. Percy picks up his sword, finds Annabeth, and the 2 of them move forward together into whatever is coming next.